Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Mind Over Money, a show where we talk about how meditation, yoga, and behavioral science can help you become a better and more efficient trader, investor, as well as a better human being. Well, my name is Shatajanand, and today we have with us a very special guest, Ram Kalyan Medury, who is the founder and CEO of Jama Wealth. Welcome to the show, Ram.
Thank you so much, Kshitij. Glad to be here.
Well, Ram, thanks for being part of the show. And being a founder and CEO, stress is something which is part of life. So, how do you manage stress on a day-to-day basis?
First of all, I don't think stress is a bad thing necessarily. Everything in life, whether it is fire or nuclear energy, stress is both a good and a bad thing.
Yes.
If you use it in moderation and with awareness, stress helps us grow. It helps us become stronger. If you fast, you're inducing stress in the body. It induces autophagy, which is great for your health. So I think for me, it's the awareness of what stress I'm holding right now.
Yes.
And I make an effort consciously to see what impact it is having, what signals my body is generating, so that I'm aware of any potential overload, and then I step back. So, for example, my breathing may become shallow, or I may get a nagging pain in this shoulder. I mean, that's my pattern. It could be different for you, Kshitij.
Right.
I'm feeling drowsy during the day. It clearly means that my sugar balances are not right, or I'm not sleeping adequately, not resting. So this one is the awareness part. The second is the action part, which is, how do you indulge in activities which automatically reduce stress? So for me, I'm a nature buff. So I like to spend time in the forests, in the mountains, near the water bodies, oceans, etc. So for me, it always is a realization that, look, with such a humongous power of nature, we are nothing. Okay,
Sure.
Everything is transient, and all our stresses and worries are all trivial. When I sit next to a Himalayan stream, right, the power of the stream, gives you that feeling, right, that you can't force things. Jo hona hai wo hoga.
Absolutely.
And with that perspective, I am able to reflect and take the right decisions, which are not always short-term oriented.
Right.
So it helps that in the case of my organization, Jama Wealth, it helps that those decisions always augur well for the long-term growth of the portfolios and not something looking for shortcuts.
Well, absolutely. In fact, well said, Ram, and you, in fact, pictured it very beautifully. And if someone is listening to the interview at this point in time, they would understand, where you're coming from. Yes, we just have to surrender ourselves to the nature and the forces which are beyond us. Perfectly put it there. Now, I also like what you said in terms of health over fitness. So, how do you define this, and what changes have you, sort of introduced in your lives to follow this principle?
Right. See, for me, health is a sense of comfort. It's being at ease. There's one term in Sanskrit called anayasa. Okay, it's one of the 8 atma gunas that a good person needs to have.
True.
So that basically means you're at ease. You're not overworking, overstretching. You don't have any disease. So I believe the difference with fitness is that, see, in fitness you can measure stuff, right? How fast are you running? Can you run a half marathon in X hours and Y minutes? Can you do a full marathon in so and so? Can you do 50 push-ups? Now, unfortunately, fitness is neither a necessary nor a sufficient condition for health and happiness. It's very number driven. We have seen many cases where people are extremely fit. I mean, they're knocking off in the gym itself.
Okay.
So all these give a realization that health is more important. So health is about effectiveness, about doing the right thing, whereas fitness is about efficiency. So you can be highly efficient, but if you're not effective, what is the point? Right? You could be slogging and earning lots of money, crores of investment portfolios, but if your children are not happy at home, what is the point, right? So that's the analogy there. So health is about effectiveness, fitness is about efficiency, and I personally have seen that when I pursued fitness goals, like I should run a half marathon in under 2 hours, which I did, I noticed that some health parameters were getting impacted. For example, the body fat percentage was going up.
Right.
So the changes I've made are to incorporate a bit more reflective events into my schedule and reduce this whole chronic cardio syndrome. I mean, you will see it especially in the techie and investment crowd. People want to run, which is fine. Everything in moderation is fine. But if you are taking it to an extreme and running 50, 80 kilometers a week and not taking care of your core parameters, which is blood pressure, body fat percentage, then you're at risk. So I prefer doing long bike rides, right? Because they're less impactful on your bones, your skeletal-muscular structure. It does give you cardiac benefit. You get exposed to nature. You get a lot of sunlight. So I don't do gyms. I prefer the yoga mat at my home. I've invested in a good quality yoga mat for that. And so being with nature, spending more time, reflecting and getting health benefit, I think you get the best of both worlds.
Right. We'll definitely come to the yoga later on in the interview. But there's one thing which long-term investors are usually worried about, and that is how future returns on the investment would be. So what can investors do to keep themselves calm and composed, especially in volatile times?
So you said long-term investors, right? So basically a long-term investor should not be worried about the short term.
Easier said than done, Ram, I guess.
It's easier, absolutely. So, but you got to realize what is your goal horizon, what's your time frame, and you have to trust an investment philosophy. Okay, you either have to trust a philosophy which codifies what you got to do, and thereby whatever you add to your portfolio, you give it a sufficient long rope, and you either do that or you hire a trusted advisor who embodies the philosophy, who can act as a coach. Just like in health you benefit from a coach, in investment also you can, and ideally it should be a good SEBI registered advisor with experience in equities. The other thing long-term investors can reflect upon to cultivate patience is that, see, in real estate people give decades of holding period, right? So why not do with high quality equities? Just give 5 years at least, ideally 5 to 10 years. Good quality equities have done better than real estate. You look at the Mumbai Real Estate Index or any other index for that matter. There'll always be exceptions, like there will be multi-bagger stocks, there'll be multi-bagger real estate episodes. So coming back, give it long horizon. And most importantly, don't obsess about what the herd is doing.
Right.
The herd may do better, the index may do better for a certain time frame, but if you have a philosophy where you pick stocks which are good quality with low debt, good management, consistently high return on equity, and growing earnings in a good sector, then you got to just give it some time and sleep well. Asset allocation is another thing which is very important. If you put everything in equity, obviously you will not sleep well. You got to find what is right for you. It could be 80-20 for a fairly well-off person, where the 20% is so big that they don't have to worry about their lifestyle, right? Or if it is a middle-class person, maybe it should be 50-50. So here's where again an advisor helps, but you got to have the allocation which gives you peace of mind, and then you got to give it time, and then you need to have a good focus and all the good things we talked about in the last few minutes.
Absolutely. In fact, well said there, Ram. And now we come to the yoga and the meditation part. So what are the techniques you follow to keep yourself mentally fit? I've heard that, you also read Vedas and do meditation apart from yoga. So help us, put some light on that aspect as well.
Yeah, see, I have a short meditation practice that I do every day 2 times. It's at dawn and dusk. It's called the Sandhya Bandhanam. And yeah, so basically you say thanks to the cosmic energy, which is symbolized by the sun, right. But it is not the sun. It's not like that you're worshipping the sun. The sun is a symbol, right, of a vast, because as you all know, right, there are billions of galaxies out there. So the sun is actually a speck in the whole thing, and we are not even a speck in front of sun. So this has amazing Vedic mantras, and there is a Gayatri mantra chanting at the core. and it helps you basically recollect and recognize that you're a small thing, and you when you say gratitude, it comes back to you anyway later, but you say gratitude, and then you the whole Gayatri mantra itself, if you see the meaning, it is basically, it's acknowledging the supreme consciousness and the power of the universe, which is illuminating people. So it is not like a worship, but it is a nice thing. And this, Kshitij, in the early days, right? I mean, if you read the Mahabharata, there are many instances where people used to stop the war at the Sandhya time.
Right.
And do their Sandhya Vandanam. If they didn't have water, they used to take sand and offer oblations to the sun. It's got nothing to do with caste or creed. Anybody can do it. And can you imagine any stressful situation bigger than the Mahabharata war?
I don't know, absolutely not.
Right? So people used to do that. This is one thing, which I do. Also, you mentioned things like neuroscience, etc. It's interesting that as we speak now, I'm actually pursuing a master's degree in IIT.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
It's an interesting stream called Technology for Yoga.
Okay.
And it's got, the latest technology, core math, machine learning, and it's got brain science and neurology in it. And it has got the, Yoga Sutras and Hatha Yoga, and it's a very interesting mix. And I'm pursuing it out of your passion, and I want to learn more in that. So when you learn, automatically your brain cells get engaged, and
Absolutely.
That's one way you can keep mentally fit. So I would say probably I'm one of the few guys who's doing an IIT degree after an IIM.
In a different field altogether. So that is commendable, and in fact, beautifully put there, Ram. I'm sure a lot of people will get inspired, from the interview that we're just having. And now, lastly, how does mantras and meditation help you in taking you out from a bad phase? If we can correlate from your past experience from an investor's perspective, answer.
I have three things to say here. Okay, firstly, I don't think mantras must be attempted for making better investments or any other, so-called material objectives. I mean, these are powerful and encoded instructions which have been discovered by highly evolved beings in order to make us evolve as better beings, and to a higher purpose. So when that evolution happens, right, the material things are automatically taken care of. I'm not saying you should live like a sannyasi or whatever, because the core Indic philosophy has always said that material wealth and core happiness can coexist. Right? We have examples of all the kings who used to do it.
Okay.
Sharada himself is an example. Janaka is a bigger example, in fact. And even Rama, Krishna, while they were having all the royal duties, they used to make sure that they use mantras, etc., to have a greater consciousness state. So I think we should keep those two separate, in my view. We already talked about tips to navigate the choppy waters of investments earlier.
Right.
Is asset allocation and investment philosophy and a good advisor, etc. So that is the first point. Let's not mix the two. Second is, I don't think investors should be worried about the next day. So again, the long-term investing comes into play. We should reflect on what are the time frames and goals for me investing, and make sure that near-term goals are protected through a debt portfolio and not by equities.
Okay.
And the rest should go into the growth portfolio, which is which doesn't need short-term protection. Should definitely go, and that's the way you got to keep creating the wealth spiral. The thirdly, an investor must accept both a bad bear phase and a great bull phase with equanimity. Because no single investment strategy will outperform all the time.
Right.
There will be ups and downs. And especially if you're not trying to be with the herd, you will experience downs. And what you may see as a bad phase may actually turn out to be good in the long run, because you would buy stocks which are not in favor, but then which are fundamentally sound. So over time, things will evolve. I think a mistake that many investors do is, let the 3 years go, let me make money. But you are losing out. These 3 years, don't lose out on your life. Don't lose out time with your family. Don't lose out on your personal health. Right? So I think that will give us a lot of peace and harmony while investing.
Very well said, Rama. Well, on that note, thank you so much for your time, Ram. And that's all for now, folks. But do stay logged on to etmarkets.com for more news on business and economy. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Akshay.